Good. Oh, great awakenings, people. And I know you might be listening to this at another time, but it is the AM for me. It is September the 23rd, 2022. And some things have changed. One thing has changed. I got me another vehicle. And just let me tell y'all about that story. It was so nice to be able to buy a car without having to deal with a salesman or a dealership. And I know, a salesman and a dealership. I did deal with a dealership, but it was kind of different because I was looking online. And so I knew what I wanted. I originally started off, I wanted a brand new Subaru Crosstrek. And after looking into that for a while, what I realized was that I had been approved. I got approved for a loan for $35,000 from my bank, which I did not think I was going to be able to do because of the child support that's being reported to the credit bureau every other week to try to damage my credit. Because last year at this time, my credit score was 741. At the time of buying the car, it was 663. So I thought. So I learned a lot about credit places and all that since then. But anyway, my bank was using TransUnion, and TransUnion was reporting that my credit score was 663. But I was afraid to even apply for the loan, just simply because I knew that the child support had been reporting on me. And I talked to this auto adjuster who had urged me to talk to my bank about maybe merging my loan. I can't remember how he worded it, but basically it was like getting another car, because I had found a car exactly like my BMW, same year, same color, like it was the exact, everything was the same. This car had a little bit more miles than mine, but because when mine was totaled out, it had 34,000 miles. This one was coming with 35,000 miles, which really wasn't bad for a 2017 BMW X1. Either way, I had found another vehicle, and they wanted $29,000 for it. At the time of my loss, I still owed like 31,800 and something. Either way, let me try. It's hard for me to stay on track. I go from one story to the next, so stay with me. And so he had said that maybe I could get them to just like merge the loan somehow with this new car. And so I reached out to them, and I tried to discuss with them what he told me. And they said, no, they could not do that. That was something that they could not do. And I think basically because banks are like, now it's like all just algorithm system that allows you to do certain things and allows you don't. And so the people who you are dealing with really have no knowledge about loans or anything. All this stuff is built into a system, and all they really doing is data entry. At any rate, I got off the phone thinking to myself, I felt defeated and felt like, oh man, I was going to be without a car and all this kind. And while this was going on, I had that rental car. And so I wasn't catching the bus like y'all saw me in the last couple of videos that I had did. I was still in the rental car, but you know, they only give you a rental for 30 days. And so my 30 days was coming to an end. At any rate, I felt so like down and depressed about the fact that I wasn't going to be able to get a loan. And what's crazy is that I didn't even try first. I just decided that I wasn't going to be able to get a loan and that I was going to be on the bus. I knew I wasn't getting any money back from my car being paid off because Progressive had decided that they were only going to pay like 30-something thousand, but my deductible was going to have to be factored in there. But I knew I had gap insurance, and the gap insurance would pay the rest, but I wasn't going to get a dime out the deal, not one penny to get me another car. And so I probably sat at my desk, you know, I'm not sure if it was just a couple of hours or a day or two, whatever was clever. I decided that I was going to call the bank back and apply for a new loan. So I did. And when I did, I was approved almost immediately. I mean, they did. They approved me immediately. She asked me how much I wanted. And, I probably should have went bigger, but I was thinking I wasn't going to get it. So I said $35,000. She came back right away and said, well, let us know, send us a PO, and we'll get the loan started. But we can't do anything until your car is completely paid off. At that time, Progressive hadn't paid anything. I was still trying to work with the Gap Insurance to see what they was going to pay. And I really didn't know for sure exactly all that was going to be paid by Progressive. So my loan that was in place for the BMW was just still in place. And I hadn't paid the car note, which was really making that car note be like in some type of default or whatever. At any rate, shit, the good news about knowing that I had a loan, I started looking. And so I started looking and there was a lot of looking. At first I was just like looking for a used car but that was my mentality, that I felt like I needed a used car, or that's all I deserved was a used car. And then I just decided, shit, fuck that shit. I can get a new car. Even if it's just a base model car, I could get a new car. Because I saw new cars that was popping up when I was looking in my search. I knew that I had wanted to get a Subaru. I looked at some BMWs, but then I started thinking about all the maintenance and all that stuff of a BMW, because I just paid like $2,500 just for some lights on the back of my car and some other stuff that they said I needed to happen in May. So, just a few months ago, I just put $2,500 in that car, and I was just like, nah, I don't want another BMW. Originally, I wanted a BMW, because I had never been in a luxury car before, and I wanted to be in a luxury car, whatever have you. And so, but this time I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that no more. I want something, more suitable for my finances, as far as the maintenance and keeping it up or whatever. So somehow, I don't know how I landed on the Subaru, but I decided the Subaru. And then when I got to the Subaru, I got down to the Crosstrek, and then I realized that you could literally get a base model Crosstrek brand new for $23,000. But I am really accustomed to having a roof in my vehicle. I don't know why, but I'm used to having a sunroof in my vehicle. It seems like every car I've ever owned had a sunroof. And so when I started trying to factor in the sunroof, the price was getting higher and higher, because what I learned in this process is that they got a base model, a sport model, a limited model, and then they got like the highest trim package model. But in order to get a sunroof, you got to at least be at a premium model to even add that in, because I was trying to build me a new Crosstrek. By the time I got through building the new Crosstrek, the cost for it was like maybe $32,000. And at the time, I probably, if I'd have paid some attention, I would have just went ahead with that. But I started finding out it was going to be weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks on when I was going to be able to get the car back, which was going to put me on the bus, because I was not willing to pay out of pocket for a rental car. And so I learned a lot through this process about cars and buying cars, and just to make the long story a little bit more shorter, I found the car that I'm driving now on this website called Car Group Gurus. And man, I had been on so many car websites, Carvana, True Car, Vroom. Like, I had been everywhere looking at cars. And so I was getting tons and tons and tons and tons of emails. But I wanted to find what I wanted. And so I found this car, and what attracted me to the car initially was the color and the seats that were brown on the inside. Because what I noticed in my car search, that every car out here that is a lower trim package most times has a black interior. And I've noticed that 95% of the cars that I've driven did not have a black interior, because I don't like black interiors, for real. And I'm not going to say black interior, I'm just going to say black seats. because the interior of this car is black, but these seats are brown, you know, and I didn't want black seats for whatever reason. There's something about the black that I didn't want, and so that's how I was learning to narrow my search on what I wanted and what I wanted to do and all this kind of stuff. And so when I found this car, it had brown seats. I didn't even know it was the highest trim package of this model Subaru, because this is a Forester, a Subaru Forester. But the thing that was the biggest for me, it's a 2017. The biggest thing for me was the fact that it was a 2017 and it only had 8,587 miles on it, and one owner, and the Carfax was like a A+. You hear me? And I was just like, wow, I really like this car. So I found this car on a Wednesday. So I reached out to the car dealership, because the Car Gurus has the car dealership in the bio of the car. And so I reached out to the car dealership, and they put me in contact immediately with the finance officer, not a salesman, because what I said when I called was that I was interested in this car and I wanted to see if I could get a PO for the car. So they was trying to get me to come in and test drive and all that. I said, no, I'm in St. Louis. I'm not in Wisconsin, because this car was in Wisconsin. So they put me right in touch with the finance officer. So as soon as I got in with the finance officer, he started trying to sell me a warranty package and all that. And really all I wanted him to do was send me the PO. Now, I don't really know what I'm doing, but that's what the bank told me I needed a PO to buy to get my loan started. At this time, when all this is going on, my car is, I decided that day to pay the balance off of my car, because I still had $313 left on my loan after Progressive had paid their money, but I wanted the gap insurance. Like, I didn't want to pay nothing out of pocket for real. But to get my loan started, I went ahead and paid the $313, because I had found out that day too that the gap insurance said they wasn't going to pay anything, because I bought a warranty on that BMW that I had no idea that I even bought. They snuck that in there with me, because they know people not paying attention, and you're just excited about buying a car and you're not listening to everything they saying in the finance office. You just want to get your car. And so they sold me a $2,500 warranty that I didn't even know. And so the gap insurance was refusing to pay the portion that they needed to pay because of this warranty. And I had been trying to get them to cancel the warranty, because Progressive originally told me that I need to get the warranty canceled. But I didn't think it was that big of a deal, because I just think it was that big of a deal. But I found out that morning that I found this car that I was going to get a $1,500 refund for that warranty. And the gap insurance felt like that money was going to cover what I owed to the bank. And so they didn't have no legal thing to pay. And so that's when I had started trying to work on trying to get that paid off. But that's a whole nother story. Either way, the guy sends me, after I talked to him for a few minutes, and that's all I talked to him. No, I know more than 5 or 10 minutes. He sends me the PO. And then when he sends me the PO, he got my name wrong, my last name wrong. He done added in some shit that the dealership that I'm buying from said that, like they dealership. I know the fees are there, but they added in a low jack and an auto trace. Well, come to find out, I could not get the low jack and the auto trace, because that's what this particular dealership in Wisconsin do with every used car that comes through their dealership. Either way, he sends me the PO corrected with all the money on there for delivery, because I was going to have the car delivered to me. I send it out to my bank, and my bank tell me that they can only loan me $30,626, and the PO was basically for $32,001, because the car was for sale for $30,000. So with the fees and the low jack, because the low jack and the auto trace basically was almost $1,000. Okay, and the delivery fee was $1,000. Although Car Guru said that I could have the car delivered for $329, this finance officer said that that was not true. So I send the PO off to my bank, and the bank tells me in the conversation after they get it that the car is only worth $30,626, and so that's all they can loan me. And I was like, huh? And they was like, no, because of your credit score, we can only loan you the value of the car, and the car is only valued at $30,626. So now I get the loan. I go to the bank the next day. I sign the loan and everything. And so I'm trying to figure out, where I'm going to come up with another $1,000, because I ain't finna get this money back from the warranty that easy. Where I'm going to come up with another $1,000 to have this car delivered. Now, y'all know I was in that flood in July, and I canceled all the trips because I had 2 trips planned for August. For my birthday, because my birthday was August the 2nd. I was going to Maine for a hiking trip for 4 days, and then I was going to come back and be in St. Louis for 2 days, and then I was going to Medellin, Colombia for 7 days. And so I had paid for both of those trips and really didn't get much back on them. But the first trip, I didn't get nothing back but my flight credits. I paid $1,500 for the trip. The flight was $800. And so all I got was my flight credits back. But on the Medellin trip for 7 days, I got a little bit of money back from the trip itself, and I got some flight credits back. And so I started thinking, well, shit, I could fly out there and drive the car back. I mean, the car didn't have 8,500 miles on it, right? And so I figured out, okay, I could do that. And then, but I wanted my taxes in there. And I had told the guy when he first created the PO that to put the taxes into the PO, right? Not even really knowing that the bank wasn't going to do it without them doing it. So he says he couldn't do that because they don't do taxes for Missouri. And so, I didn't think much of it, and I turned the PO in and then went and signed the loan and all that. But after I thought about it and got some, real understanding, I said, shit, I need these taxes to be in this car, because these taxes going to be like $3,000, which is more money than I'm going to have to come up with to pay. I'd rather for it to be in my loan. And so I tried this Thursday. I saw the car on Wednesday. This Thursday, I'm figuring out the fact that I need my taxes in there and everything. And so I tried to reach out to the finance officer, who was pissed off at me that I didn't buy the warranty that he was trying to sell me. So he has started kind of, carrying me in a different way than he was carrying me originally when, I was just buying the car. But now all of a sudden that I'm not getting that warranty, he hot. You know what I mean? So I tried to call him. He happened to be off that day. And so I wanted to speak to anybody else. And then I wanted to speak to anybody else just simply because I felt like, hey, well, shit, if I could speak to somebody else, then maybe they'll do it, outside of him. Well, I called and I tried to get connected with another finance officer, and it wouldn't happen. So it's about 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. I want to get the deal done because I know I'm not going to be able to get no appointment to sign a new loan. I already signed the other loan for, that didn't have my taxes in there. And so I said, well, shit, I'm going to add the taxes in the motherfucking PO myself. So I got the PO, printed it off, made the changes, sent it into my bank, called them and told them that I had a new PO and that I needed to sign, make some change orders to my loan. And they did it. I went in the next day and signed my new loan and got my new check, which my new check was like a little bit over like $33,000. It was like $33,800 and something. I can't remember exactly what the amount was, but I added in my taxes and took out the delivery because they weren't paying for the delivery no way. So now I done got online and booked me a hotel in Wisconsin and used some of my flight credits to fly when I get off of work Friday, right? So I get all that done, honey, fly up to Wisconsin. They pick me up at my hotel in the morning, Saturday morning. The dealership that I was dealing with picked me up at the hotel, took me out there. I wasn't at that dealership 35, 45 minutes waiting for the finance officer to get finished with somebody else so I could sign my paperwork and leave. So, but the whole time that I was, even headed there and, waiting and all that, I was concerned about this extra money that was on my check, because now my loan to them is only like $31,000 and some change. So it's all of my tax money is overage on this check, and I don't know how they gonna handle it, right? And so when he got through dealing with the person he was dealing with, he comes over to me and the salesman that he had assigned me to, who was the one who picked me up at my hotel, and says, "I'll be with you in a second." He said, "You got that check?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, it's a cashier's check." I said, "Yeah, I got a check." Cause see, I had them believing that I was just buying the car outright and I ain't had no loan, cause I didn't want them to know it ain't none of their motherfucking business for real. So I pulled out the check and handed it to him, and he say, this is more than the car." I said, "I know, the rest of it's for my taxes." So he looked at me and said, "Well, I told you that we don't do Missouri taxes." He said, "I'm just going to have to send you a check back because we don't do Missouri taxes." On the inside, I was smiling. I had a mask on because the salesman was weird and had a mask on. So I had a mask on. Up under that mask, I was smiling like a motherfucker because I was happy as fuck that they was going to send me that money back, because I didn't know how they was going to handle it. I thought that maybe they would just say, "Well, nah, we ain't doing the loan," or something to that effect. At any rate, guys, I signed my paperwork, got my keys to my car, and drove off in less than 35 minutes. And I started this process on my own, calling them people, which was a 15-minute conversation. Calling my bank was less than a 15 conversation. Going to sign them 2 loans. So I signed the loan on Thursday, then I signed another loan Friday morning, because I didn't leave on my flight to go to Wisconsin till 7 o'clock that night. So I worked all day, and I did all this at work and didn't have to deal with no salesmen or no barrages of people or a bunch of people running my credit, or because my experience in the past with buying a car is going to a dealership and being there all day. There is a guy online, and I'm trying to think of what his name is, but it's Darian. I'm gonna put it in the comments so that y'all can connect with him. This guy will teach you so much about how to deal with cars, and a lot of what that I saw after my deal, I did instinctively, just because I like to, I'm like a 3-year-old. I do it my damn self. I don't need you to do shit for me. But this guy teaches a lot of good tips and tricks that you should know as just being a person and dealing with these car dealerships and people that sells cars, because it's just great information. He used to be a salesman, so he giving you real, honest information that you can use in your task of everyday life. And so I'm gonna put that in the comments, and it's a whole lot more to my story, but y'all, I gotta get in to go to work now. I done been sitting here 22 minutes talking to y'all, but I do appreciate you listening to me, because sometimes I just need somebody to talk to. The friendship game hard around here. I'll see y'all in my next video.